From music and pop culture to politics and history, the 1970s was a decade of great change and innovation. Join us as we take a trip down memory lane and explore some of the most interesting and quirky moments from this iconic era. Number 1. Earth Day was first observed on the 22nd of April in 1970 and was created by Wisconsin Senator Gaylord Nelson. It was a response to the environmental crisis of the time, which included concerns about air and water pollution, deforestation, and wildlife conservation. Number 2. Disco music and culture became popular in the mid-1970s with hits like Stayin' Alive by the Bee Gees and I Will Survive by Gloria Gaynor. The popularity of disco peaked in 1978 with the release of the movie Saturday Night Fever, which starred John Travolta and featured a soundtrack by the Bee Gees. Number 3. The Watergate scandal unfolded between 1972 and 1974 during President Richard Nixon's second term in office. It was revealed that members of the Nixon administration had broken into the Democratic National Committee headquarters to gain political intelligence, and that the president had attempted to cover up the crime. Nixon resigned on the 8th of August 1974 to avoid impeachment. Number 4. The Vietnam War lasted from 1955 to 1975, but the US involvement in the conflict began to escalate in the mid-1960s. The war was deeply unpopular in the US, and many young men resisted the draft or protested against the war. The US eventually withdrew from Vietnam in 1973, and South Vietnam fell to the Communist forces in 1975. Number 5. Punk rock emerged in the mid-1970s in the UK with bands like the Sex Pistols, The Clash, and The Damned. The genre was characterized by its DIY ethos, anti-establishment lyrics, and abrasive sound. Punk rock influenced many other genres of the music, including alternative rock, grunge, and emo. Number 6. Star Wars was released on the 25th of May 1977 and quickly became a cultural phenomenon. The film was directed by George Lucas and starred Mark Hamill, Harrison Ford, and Carrie Fisher. Star Wars was followed by 2 sequels, The Empire Strikes Back in 1980 and Return of the Jedi in 1983, as well as a prequel trilogy and a sequel trilogy. Number 7. Happy Days aired from 1974 to 1984 and was set in the 1950s. The show was created by Gary Marshall and starred Ron Howard, Henry Winkler, and Tom Bosley. Happy Days was a nostalgic look back at a simpler time, and its popularity led to the creation of spin-offs like Laverne and Shirley and Mork and Mindy. Number 8. The Roe vs. Wade decision. This was handed down by the US Supreme Court on the 22nd of January in 1973. The case involved a Texas woman named Norma McCorvey who sought an abortion but was denied under state law. The court ruled that the right to privacy included the right to choose whether or not to have an abortion, and that the states could not restrict that right. Number 9. The first mobile phone was developed by Motorola in 1973 and was called the Motorola DynaTAC. It weighed 2.5 pounds and cost nearly $4,000, but it was a major breakthrough in the mobile communications industry. The first commercial mobile phone network were launched in the 1980s. Number 10. Jaws was released on the 20th of June 1975 and was directed by Steven Spielberg. The film was based on the novel by Peter Benchley and starred Ron Schneider, Robert Shaw, and Richard Dreyfuss. Jaws was a box office sensation and is widely considered to be the first summer blockbuster. Number 11. Margaret Thatcher was elected Prime Minister of the United Kingdom in 1979, becoming the first woman to hold that office. Thatcher's conservative policies, including privatization and deregulation, were controversial, but had a lasting impact on British politics and society. Number 12. The World Trade Center was completed in New York City in 1973. The Twin Towers were the tallest buildings in the world at the time and became an iconic symbol of the city. Sadly, the towers were destroyed in a terrorist attack of September the 11th in 2001. Number 13. The Munich Olympics were held in 1972 and were marred by a terrorist attack by the Palestinian group Black September. 11 Israeli athletes were taken hostage and eventually killed along with a West German police officer. The events was a tragic reminder of the ongoing conflict in the Middle East. Number 14. The first test tube baby, Louis Brown, was born in 1978. The procedure called in vitro fertilization (IVF) was developed by British scientists Robert Edward and Patrick Steptoe. IVF has since become a common method of fertility treatment. Number 15. The Me Decade was a term coined by author Tom Wolfe to describe the self-focused culture of the 1970s. The decade was characterized by a rejection of traditional values and an emphasis on personal fulfillment and expression. Number 16. The Tricky Dick nickname was given to President Richard Nixon due to his reputation for political scheming and manipulation. The nickname was a play on a phrase Tricky Dicky and was often used by Nixon's political opponents. Number 17. The Godfather was released in 1972 and is widely considered to be one of the greatest films ever made. The movie, which was directed by Francis Ford Coppola and starred Marlon Brando and Al Pacino, tells the story of a powerful Italian-American mafia family. Number 18. The first Starbucks coffee shop opened in Seattle, Washington in 1971. The company was founded by Jerry Baldwin, Gordon Bowker, and Zev Siegel, and has since become a global phenomenon. Number 19. The Equal Rights Amendment, or ERA, was a proposed amendment to the US Constitution that would have guaranteed equal rights for women. The amendment was first introduced in 1923 but was not passed by Congress until 1972. However, the ERA failed to gain ratification by the required number of states and was never added to the Constitution. Number 20. The mood ring was a popular fashion accessory in the 1970s. The ring changed colors based on the wearer's body temperature and was supposed to reflect their emotional state. Number 21. The Summer of Love was a cultural phenomenon that took place in San Francisco in 1967 but had a lasting impact on the 1970s. The summer was marked by the wave of counterculture and youth rebellion, including the rise of the hippie movement and the use of psychedelic drugs. Number 22. The Brady Bunch aired from 1969 to 1974 and became a beloved sitcom of the era. The show centered around a blended family and their wacky adventures. The show's theme song, The Brady Bunch Theme, is still a beloved piece of the pop culture. Number 23. The Ford Pinto was a subcompact car manufactured by Ford from 1971 to 1980. The car became notorious for its dangerous design flaws, which made it susceptible to gas tank explosions in rear-end collisions. The issue was revealed in a series of lawsuits and investigations, and the Pinto became a symbol of corporate greed and neglect. Number 24. The Rubik's Cube, a 3D puzzle toy, was invented in 1974 by Hungarian sculptor and professor of architecture Ernő Rubik. The puzzle became a global sensation in the 1980s with millions of units sold worldwide. Number 25. In 1977, the Voyager 1 and Voyager 2 spacecrafts were launched by NASA on a mission to explore the outer solar system. The spacecraft sent back stunning images and data from planets like Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune, expanding our understanding of the universe. We hope you enjoyed learning about some of the most interesting and significant events from this unforgettable decade. If you want to continue exploring the past, be sure to check out our video on 25 fascinating facts about the 60s, which you can access in the end screen. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel for more exciting content.